All right, hello students. Today we're moving on with lesson 11. We're going to compare ratios using ratio tables. So let's go over example one. Kind of do a little refresher of equivalent fractions or equivalent ratios. So let's go and look at number one. Create four equivalent ratios, two by scaling up and two by scaling down, using the ratio 30 to 80. So we're going to use this ratio right here. Let's go ahead and get out some markers. 30 to 80 to create four equivalent ratios, two scaling up and two scaling down. So whenever we're giving a situation like this, we usually want to simplify down this ratio kind of all the way or into its simplest form. If you look at 30 and look at 80, we want to simplify it down. So we want to divide by something. And hopefully you recognize that they both have zeros on the end, so we can easily divide by 10 to simplify down the ratio. This gives us an equivalent ratio of 3 to 8. Now we want to do this because we have to make equivalent ratios, and two we have to scale down, and two up, and two we have to scale down. Well, right away, this 3 colon 8 is a scale down. Now, how do I know it's a scale down? Down, of course, means the numbers are going to get smaller. Okay, this is equivalent because they mean the same thing, but it's being scaled down because the numbers are smaller. So there's one being scaled down. Now I need one more scaled down. Well, we can kind of do what we did on the table. We can add 3 to this side and get 6. We can add 8 to this side, and get 16. So here are two that are scaled down. Once again, equivalent ratios, but just simply smaller numbers. Well, if we're going to scale up from 30 to 80, that means the numbers have to get bigger or increase. So if I scale up, let's go ahead and get a pen. Not sure where my colors have gone, but let's go ahead and just keep using red. If I want to scale up, that means the numbers have to get bigger. If I'm starting with 30 and 80, well, if I add 30 to 30, that gives me 60. If I add 80 to 80, that gives me 160. And of course, I can do that again. I can add 30, the number given to me, to 60 and get 90. And add 80 to 160 and get 240. So all I'm doing is just simply doing some addition to both sides. Two of them scaling up. So these two, of course, are scaled up because the numbers are bigger. These two are scaled down because the numbers are smaller. And of course, the simplifying helps out because it gets me to the smallest possible kind of form. The smallest possible equivalent ratio, not form. All right, next part, let's go and look at the second part here. It says write a ratio to describe the relationship shown in the table. So they give us a situation that's going on here. And of course, we have to pay attention to the title. It says hours, and it says number of pizzas sold. So we're given a 2 to 16, a 5 to 40, a 6 to 48, and a 10 to 80. Well, we really want the simplified or simplest ratio form they have. Well, they give it, or we can come up with. They have a 2 to 16. The question is, can I simplify down this ratio? So let's go ahead and write that over here, 2 to 16. That's the smallest one they give us. We want to know, is this the simplest form? And the answer is no. I can divide both of these numbers by 2. If I divide both of these numbers by 2, I get a 1 colon 8. So this one, the hours could be dropped down to 1, and the number of pizzas sold could be dropped down to 8. These are equivalent ratios in a smaller form. Now we can do kind of what they're asking us to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to write a ratio to describe the relationship shown in the table. So here we go. The ratio 1 to 8 is the, sorry, not is the, let's go with means they sell, because over here, if we look at this, they sell 8 pizzas for 1 hour. They sell 8 pizzas in 1 hour. Okay, now we can kind of simplify it and say per hour, but based on the ratio provided, the ratio of 1 to 8 means they sell 8 pizzas in 1 hour, or for every hour they sell 1 pizza. So there we go. That's what they're given, or that's kind of what the ratio table is presenting to us. We simplified it so we can kind of talk about the smallest form. All right, so there you go. You could have a number of different answers down here, but all that matters is that we're talking about 8 pizzas in 1 hour. All right, they're selling 8 pizzas in 1 hour. All right, go ahead and move on to the next video, and we're going to talk about the next example. All right, hello students. Let's go ahead and look at exercise 1. Here we're going to use some ratio tables to compare some different quantities. So let's go and look at what they're asking us to do. The following table shows how many words each person can text in a given amount of time. Compare the rates of texting for each person using a ratio table. Well, here's the ratio tables presented, and what we want to look for to see if all three of them share a number. If we look here, we have 3, 5, 7, and 9. We want to look to see if these share. Well, this one doesn't share any of those numbers. So we can't use the information on the tables. So what we want to do is we want to use, we can't compare the information on the tables to each other. What we have to do is we have to take the information from each individual table and create something we can compare to each other. So if we look at this, I have 3 minutes. Michaela in 3 minutes can text 150 times. Jenna in 2 minutes can text 90 times, and Maria in 3 minutes can text 120 times. Well, if we simplify down these minutes to 1, then we can all compare. So let's go ahead and do that for each person. So if I took Michaela's 3 to 150 and simplified it down so we figure out how many times or how many words she can text in 1 minute, that would help out. So if I divide 3 by 3, that gives me 1. All right, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. 150 divided by 3 is 50. If I do the same thing with Jenna's, I kind of take I take the smallest one here and simplify it. I have 2 over 90. Well, we wanted to match Michaela's. We want to have a 1 on top so we can compare. Well, I divide by 2. Because 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, remember, all we're doing is we want this top number to be the same on all three so we can compare. 90 divided by 2 is 45. And the last one, if I took the 3 over 120 and simplified it, or once again, we want to convert the top to equal 1, just like the other ones. Then we go ahead, I have to do that, I have to divide by 3. So if I divide the top by 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1, I have to divide the bottom by 3. Well, 120 divided by 3, 12 divided by 3 is 4. And then nothing's left over, so of course we add the 0 on the end. So because now all these tops are the same, this is how fast or how many words they can text in a minute. Michaela can text in 1 minute, she can text 50 words. Jenna, minutes on top, 1 minute, 45 words. Maria, 1 minute on top, 40 words. Now we can compare them to each other. Well, based on this information, which one is the fastest texter? Well, Michaela, because she can text 50 words in 1 minute. So let's go ahead and kind of start writing our statement. Let's go ahead and answer your question. The following is compare the rates of texting to each person. So we're going to compare them to each other. Michaela, so go ahead and start it off. Michaela is the fastest texter because she can, that's not right. because she can text 50 words, excuse me, in 1 minute. Excuse me. All right, there you go. All right, so that's the first. That's kind of, she is the fastest because she can go at 50 words in 1 minute. Now, who is the second fastest? Well, we have Jenna. Jenna is the next fastest because she can text 45 words in 1 minute. All right, so as you can see, I kind of just Michaela's the fastest. Jenna's the second fastest because she has 45 words in a minute. And then, of course, the last person or the slowest texter is Maria. So that's how we use, this is how we use these ratio tables to compare. So, and then we go last. Maria is the slowest texter. Because she can only text 40 words in 1 minute. All right, so there we go. So there's our answer to the question. They want us to compare them or put them in order based on the speed. This is one form. We could have did reversed order. We could have said Maria is the slowest texter in the front and kind of went backwards, but I decided to start with the fastest person and go to the slowest person. So there we go. We took a ratio table. We had to do some work over here, of course, to compare. But of course, we found that we compared them all by 1 minute. We find that kind of common number between them all. All right, so you can go ahead and stop what you're doing. Go ahead and move on to your assignment for today. There you go.